everybody and welcome to the first wheelchair masterclass. I'm really glad to have you on board. I'm glad you have tuned in. In this little mini series that I'm going to be making, I'm going to be doing some really simple, really basic how-to wheelchair techniques. I'm really excited about them. I've been wanting to film these for ages, so now we can just step right into it and do it all thanks to the fact that I have this new camera. So today's video is all about wheelchair transferring. I'm starting off downstairs in my house. I'm going to be doing sofa, chair and even floor. And then in the next video we're going to go upstairs and we're going to do some transferring upstairs, bed, bath and beyond. For me, I try to get out of my wheelchair as much as I possibly can. I think people who aren't around wheelchair users and don't know much about wheelchair users, they do seem to think that we are confined to our wheelchairs, that we sleep in our wheelchairs and even bathe in our wheelchairs, but this is not the case. Where possible, wheelchair users get out as much as possible. Why do we get out as much as possible? Well, for me, I have a T10 incomplete spinal cord injury. Basically means that my spinal cord is not completely, it's just partially. So I can feel things. I have different sensation to an able-bodied person, but I can feel things below the injury, and I can feel when I'm getting uncomfortable, and I can feel when things are getting painful. So it's a great idea to get out of our wheelchairs as much as possible because this will help with any pressure sores and things like that. And yeah, to move around as much as possible. What do I get on the floor for? Well, I love to get on the floor and I love to play with my daughter. We like to play card games, board games, Barbies, ponies, you name it, we play it. I also get out on the floor to do my exercises. As you know, I like to do Pilates. I sometimes like to do weights, meditation, things like that. I like to feel centered to the earth. I might want to get on the floor and do a bit of sunbathing if I'm outside. I might want to get down on the floor and join my friends when we're having a picnic. There are so many reasons as to why we need to get out of our wheelchairs. I also like to get out of my wheelchair to do my work at my desk and do my editing. I like to also chill on the sofa in the evening with my husband and my doggy and watch television and get nice and comfy and cozy. So as you can see, there are loads of reasons as to why we want to get out of our wheelchair. We also will need to get out of our wheelchair if we're going to be flying by plane or getting in and out of the car. If you haven't seen that, I have done a whole video already on how I transfer in and out of my car, so be sure to go and check that out. Before I start this video, I just want to put a small disclaimer, probably not for you subscribers, but you just never know out there in the world of YouTube that this video is advice only. What you do after this video is I cannot be held accountable for. Please always seek medical advice from a professional first. I wouldn't say I'm a professional, but I got a lot of experience. You know, what works for one person might not work for you. There are lots of different techniques, but I'll try and show you as much as possible to help you. These videos are designed to help and give advice only. So sit tight, I'm going to show you how to do my sofa, floor and chair transfers. A transfer consists of 3 phases. You have the setup, you have the lift, and then you have the reposition. So here I am setting up ready for the transfer to the sofa, which is slightly lower than my wheelchair, so gravity is going to work in our favour. So I lock my brakes. It's really important you lock your brakes, and then I shuffle my weight forward to perch on the edge of the wheelchair. I take my feet onto the ground so they're nice and stable. Then I have my leading hand and my trailing hand, and with my leading hand I shuffle all my weight onto it and lift myself off onto the sofa and reposition myself to get comfy. Now to get back in, we're going to do the same, but gravity is against us, so we have got to push really hard. So now I've got my leading hand, my trailing hand, and I push all my weight on my trailing hand over into my leading hand, if that makes any sense. I take a nice big deep breath in. I find that helps as well. Then I reposition myself back into a seated position, and we're ready to rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. So here we are from another angle. This is my leading hand, and then I've got my trailing hand. Take a deep breath in, put all my weight and shuffle myself round onto my wheelchair and reposition myself back into my wheelchair, and then we're ready to move on. Moving on to the floor transfer now, which is pretty darn hard, so don't try this on your own if it's your first time, because you might get stuck. So you need to set up, so just lock your brakes so that you're not going to roll back anywhere and hurt yourself. And then I'm going to shuffle my weight forward, and then reposition my legs onto the floor. You may want to wear shoes. I think if you're sort of learning, then it's very advisable to wear shoes. Now, like a superhero landing from the sky, I put one fist down on the floor. People say you should use your dominant one, but I use my less dominant one. And then my other hand, my trailing hand, is on the frame of my wheelchair, and I slowly take my weight down through my hand on the floor, and then sort of elegantly land on the floor and reposition my hair, making sure I look beautiful. Now, getting back in is the hard part. If you're small, you could start by sitting on your footplate and then lifting yourself up into your wheelchair. I can't do this. Or can I? Yes, she can, but it's not my preferred method. Here is another method. You could do it facing the front. This way, I can't do. My footplates stick out, so I just can't do that. This is my preferred way, putting my legs under my chin and then putting one hand on the frame and then lifting up all my weight into the wheelchair and then repositioning myself and sitting back. Let's see that again. So here we go, pulling up the wheelchair. Make sure you have your brakes on. And then I position myself forward to the edge of the wheelchair, and I take my legs off firmly on the floor, and then I get my hand like a superhero and put it on the floor like I'm about to land, and then I have my trailing hand on the frame ready to go, and then I sort of like pull my weight down through my hand and then just land on the floor basically. Now, to get back in, one hand is on the frame, and then I put my legs under my chin, and then I've got my other hand on the floor like a superhero and lift all my weight up into the wheelchair and then position myself back and then put my legs on the footplate, and then that's it basically. Now you understand why wheelchair users are quite strong with their upper body, and if you're not so strong, then I do highly recommend that you do some weight exercises to make your upper body as strong as possible. Okay, moving over to the chair transfer, which I would say is probably one of the easiest transfers to do. Now, when you are transferring into a chair, please make sure that it is stable, make sure that it's not going to go anywhere, you know, like a chair on wheels or something like that, like an office chair. Now, when I pull up at a slight angle to a chair. I pull my weight forward, and then I take off my legs onto the ground, and then I have my leading hand and my trailing hand, put on my weight onto the leading hand and push with the trailing hand onto the chair. And don't forget to reposition yourself. If you have forgotten or you can't feel that you haven't positioned yourself, then make sure you do reposition yourself so you don't kind of just slide up and just wonder why you ended up on the floor. So to get back on, I have my leading hand and my trailing hand, and then with my leading hand I push up and then push across with my trailing hand to push me back into the seat, and then put my legs on, reposition back, take my brakes off, and then off we go. So So there you have it. That was my first wheelchair masterclass. What did you think? Obviously, this is how I do it. You may do it a different way, or a different way might work for you. I hope that you found it useful. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm going to be doing some more basic wheelchair masterclasses. Also, if you found this video of value, why not consider buying me a coffee, as kind of consider it as a little tip for sharing something of value to you. And also make sure to click that share link down below and share it on Facebook and Twitter, because it really helps get the videos out there to the people who may need them. As I said, this is just how I do it. You know, you may do it differently, or you may find a different technique that works better for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Mwah! Bye!